Hey T-Birds, this is Mr. T. Hey, your teacher, and you are on the farm with Mr. T. It's another school day, another video, another on the farm with Mr. T, but this is a different episode. This is a special episode of shiitake mushrooms. So today, instead of being in the barn talking to you, I'm out here in our woods talking to you. So part of our farm is fields and the other part of our farm is woodlands. And right now we're in the woodlands. So the crops that we grow in the field are the common ones that we know: tomatoes and peppers and lettuces and potatoes and carrots and radishes, all those things. But we also use our woodlot to grow crops as well, and to grow food for our customers and for ourselves. And I was thinking about it. We do two main things in the woods to grow food for our customers and ourselves. One of them I already showed you. I can't believe we've been doing these episodes so long that one of the early episodes of On the Farm with Mr. T, I showed you how we made maple syrup. Remember the big buckets I had, and I was filling it up in the truck and filling the big barrel up in the truck, and it cooks down into maple syrup, and I showed you that. That's one way we use the woods. So we tap our maple trees and use that sap to make maple syrup. Another way we help feed people with our woods is we grow mushrooms, and we use the wood. We have some of the trees, if they're too closely growing together, they're not going to be as productive, so we cut some of those smaller trees down that are kind of crowded, and we use that wood to grow mushrooms. Particularly shiitake mushrooms are like our specialty. And I didn't even like mushrooms till I started eating shiitake mushrooms. Then I was like, oh my gosh, I like these mushrooms, but I'm not really a fan of all mushrooms. So shiitake mushrooms are something that we grow. It's a specialty. And we grow them on logs. And you can kind of see there's all the logs here. We've got kind of a bunch of logs. Look over that way, all stacked up everywhere. So we grow them on logs. This is an example of a log that I have here. And if you see, I'll turn this down so you can kind of see it. You'll notice these holes right here. So these are drill holes that we used an electric drill and drilled holes into the log and then put sawdust in the log. The sawdust that we put in was already infected with the mycelium, which are the roots of shiitake mushrooms. So we buy it. It's basically the seed. It's sawdust is the seed for us for shiitake mushrooms. They send it to us in a big bag. We get like 50 pounds of it, and that sawdust already has the roots kind of grown in it, waiting to pop out. So we take that sawdust, drill those holes, put the sawdust in the holes with a special tool, seal it up with some wax, and then set the logs out here in the woods where those mycelium, those roots, they're not really roots, but they're, for our purpose, we'll think of them as roots for the mushroom. They grow through the log, eat the log. They're trying to break the log down. They're eating it, and then they produce basically a mushroom. Is almost like, we call it a fruit almost, because it pops out, and out of the mushroom are spores that fall. That's how they make seed, so that they can have more mushrooms and they reproduce. So for us, we want to get the logs when they're fresh still, because as soon as you cut down a tree, everything wants to eat it. When a tree's alive, it has defenses that it can kind of keep bugs away, it can keep disease away, but once it's cut and it's dead, then those defenses are gone. And so we want to make sure that we get our mushrooms in there first before all the competing wild mushrooms want to get in and eat that wood too. So it's almost like having a field that's been plowed and all of the weeds are out of it and there's nothing growing, and then you put your seed in, and that's the best way to grow something where it's not going to compete with others. So we have what was fresh cut wood, and we put our seed in it, our mushroom seed, and it starts to eat the sapwood. And if you look here, that's the sapwood. The sapwood's about like an inch all the way around the log, and you see how it's white there? That's the mycelium. Those are what we're going to call the roots for the mushroom to grow. So it only eats the sapwood. The middle part is the heartwood, and it doesn't eat that. So it's just eating that sapwood. That's where all the nutrients are for our shiitake mushrooms. So, and even on the bottom, you can kind of see it's got all that kind of caked on leaf debris and soil, and you'll see some white on there as well, because that's the mycelium growing and pulling water up from the soil, pulling the moisture up in order to keep it alive. If these logs get too dried out, then the mushroom part of it dies and we don't get any mushrooms. So that has to be kept in the shade and preferably a moist location, and our woods are a great spot for that. So if you look down, bring the camera down here, we had a big flush of mushrooms here recently, and here are some mushrooms that are growing off this log. And I know these are our shiitake mushrooms because I can recognize them, and I'm going to go ahead and pick those. We've already picked a bunch of other ones. I have them in a box. So this is what they look like. Pretty cool, right? This guy's kind of big. So we'll go through and harvest these. We just did it earlier today, and these are like the last two that I picked. And we're going to take those to a restaurant, and we'll sell those to the Herdick House in Williamsport. So they're going to get these mushrooms. I got a whole box of them. I'll show you in a little bit. So not only do we use our farmland to produce food, we use our woods. This is a healthy and environmentally friendly way to grow mushrooms. It's considered an old-fashioned way to grow them because commercially they grow them in bags of sawdust because they can produce a lot more, but it's more resource intensive. This is all wood that either came from tops of trees that are timbered or comes from thinning trees to make the forest more healthy. So it's a positive for the forest, and then we're able to use this wood to produce mushrooms for us and for our customers. And they taste great. So I'm going to show you that box of mushrooms. Hey, I'm back. I just got these out of our cooler. This is our label that we have, that we use. Like a little elf dude on a log. Shiitake mushrooms, all about them and how healthy they are and good for you. And then this is the box of mushrooms that we have here. It's about 5 pounds. Aren't they pretty? I'll add those that I just picked to this box. And again, we'll take this to the Herdick House, and then they'll use them for their dinners. So that'll work great for them. One of the things I want to tell you that I didn't say before was, when do we, it's called inoculate. You inoculate a log. It's like planting the log. We do that late winter. So like right after the sap run and we're done with maple syrup, then we go right into shiitake mushroom log production. And that's right before we're doing our field work for our farm beds. So it kind of fills a good time for us before we're really doing a lot of field work. It's a little bit of downtime in late March and April. That's when we do the logs. And it's a lot of work. It takes many, many hours because every hole that we saw on the log, right? Every hole you saw there had to be drilled, then had to be filled, then had to be plugged. So one person's drilling, that's usually Mrs. T. One person's plugging with this special tool, that'd be me. It's a little injector, I inject the sawdust in. And then our friend Denise is usually the third person, and she waxes it up. And the reason we wax it up is to keep the moisture in the log, and also to keep other bugs and stuff from getting in there and eating it and taking it away. Now the log, once it's planted, will last usually like 3 to 5 years. So we'll get fruit off that. We call it fruit. We'll get mushrooms off it for about 3 to 5 years. And so I better get these back in the cooler because that's the way they stay fresh and they keep their nutrient value the best. So I'll take these back up to my walk-in cooler. And that concludes our special shiitake show. And tomorrow I'll come to you with another video, but it'll be more of our regular video where I'll give everyone their shout outs and all that. I got a lot of important stuff I got to tell you tomorrow. So I hope you have a great day. T-Birds, I love you and I miss you. Bye.